Hi, this is Caroline.
And this is Liz.
And in this video, we're going to show you how to make your own Google Home at home with
the Raspberry Pi.
So we're going to talk about the project before we get started here, all right? So we got interested in doing this project when we saw a post online that said, hey, make your own Google Home.
With the Raspberry Pi.
But
you had to get the magazine, MagPi.
Issue number 57.
57.
And so I started calling around to different Barnes & Nobles.
I started running around to the different micro centers and Fry's.
And I found out there were only 7 issues of the magazine at each Barnes & Nobles, and there was only like 5 Barnes & Nobles in the entire city of Atlanta.
And I found out that everyone was coming in asking for the magazine, and some of the shipments never arrived.
So we have no MagPi magazine.
And so we had no kit.
So we got resourceful and started looking up how to do it without the kit. Because the kit contained a microphone, a speaker, and a button.
Button.
Yes. And I was kind of like, well, I've got the microphone and the speaker already. I just need a button. And so I found one online.
Absolutely.
And I started doing research about how to do this project without the kit.
And here we are.
And here we are. So Liz, why don't you demo for us how this works?
Okay, so we've got everything plugged in right now. And here's our tiny, tiny button, if you can see it. I'm going to press the button. What is 2 plus 2?
The answer is 4.
Yay! So that's our little Google Home. So in this video, we're going to show you start to finish how to set this up and how to do this. Another really cool feature of this is that you don't need a monitor, you don't need a mouse when you get it going. You can
wake it up.
To wake it up.
Right.
All right. So
all you do is press the button.
Yeah, you press the button. So anyway,
Easy.
so that's the project. All right, let's get started.
Okay. Okay. So this is the pin identifier for the Raspberry Pi, and we specifically want a certain pin for our button. So we're going to count down here to the pins, and we're going to attach the ground pin, which is the black one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then in the 8th position, and there you go. You have the button.
Now we're following instructions we found on AndroidAuthority.com. And it's a blog post of somebody who faced the same issues we did. And so we're going to start from the very beginning. So first of all, these Raspberry Pis, they run off of a micro SD card. It's the size of my fingernail.
Very
it's so tiny. Yes. So I've got a micro SD card here, and what I'm going to do is reformat it, and then we're going to start the instructions from here. So put that in, and I'm going to start a screen record. To start this project, I am going to first put the image that we need for these Google Voice Kit onto my micro SD card that I'm going to put into my Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to start at aiyprojects.withgoogle.com/voice, and I will put a link to it in the description field below, so it makes it easier for you to copy paste that. All right, so I'm at the official project here, and I've inserted my micro SD card into an SD adapter and put that into my computer right here. And let's see, assembly guide. So here we go, get the voice kit SD image. So first of all, I need to download this. So I've already downloaded it, so I'm going to hit cancel here, but for you guys, please hit save file. And then I'm going to install, I've already installed this, but just to show you, there's an Etcher.io application that you need to install on your computer. And here it is. So I've already installed it. So I'm going to skip over that. So let's open that up. And here is the Etcher.io tool. So I've got to, and I'm going to select the image right here, AIY Projects, 2017-05-03 image, open. My SD card is already inserted into my computer, and then I'm going to hit flash. And the estimated time is about 4 minutes and 23 seconds, or 4 minutes and 19 seconds now, for this to write, and then it will validate. And so we'll be back
after this gets done.
You're going to show us part of your journey, the search for the MagPi Issue 57 magazine. What happened here?
So after 3 different venues that I went to, nobody had 57. I decided to go ahead and pick up 55 because there's lots of good content in this edition as well. But for 57, you can actually go online and get the project now.
Okay, so our Etcher I/O is done writing the image to our micro SD card. It's right here. I'm going to pull that out. And hopefully you can see this. My micro SD card is right here in that sleeve. So I'm going to put that into my Raspberry Pi. All right, so here's the Raspberry Pi assembly. So you saw this part earlier with Liz. So I'm going to put my micro SD card into my Raspberry Pi. Like that. Pop that in together. Now it's time to put it all together. So what I like to do is, mine has a little cover case like this, totally optional. You can get this case on properly. And there's a little space in between where the case goes. So I'm going to let this stick out a little bit. And then here's a little trick. Take a piece of Scotch tape. I'm going to tape down my button to the side of the case. So this step is just totally optional, but just so that it just makes it a little bit easier for me to press the button once I get done with the project. I'm going to do that. So next I need to plug in my microphone here, and then I want to plug in my mouse and keyboard. I've got a wireless mouse and keyboard. I'm going to put that in next. And then let's see, I've got my monitor. Monitor goes in right here on the side. There goes my top again. And this is my speaker here. It's a 3.5 millimeter input speaker. I'm going to plug it in to the speaker jack right here. Now, if you don't have one of these little speakers, and especially if you're in a classroom setting, so one time I did a project, everybody just used their headphones, their earbuds, and it works just as well, and it's even better in a classroom setting. So you can always just use your headphones. But for this project, you want to hear it. So I'm going to put in the speaker, 3.5 millimeter speaker. And last but not least, we're going to give this thing some power here. So plug it in. And this is the start of the project. We've booted up our Raspberry Pi, and you can see that they've already customized the wallpaper for us. First thing we're going to do is get on the internet. And boom, I'm on the internet. First thing I'm going to do is open up the web browser, and they've already bookmarked. See, a Flash player, getting started. They've already bookmarked AIY projects with google.com, the same website we were on just a second ago. So I'll let that load up. And we're following instructions from Android Authority. I'm going to do a search on Android Authority, Google Home, Raspberry Pi. See if we can find the tutorial that we're following here. And sure enough, it's the very first search result. So this is the tutorial we're following. I'm going to bookmark this page because we will have to reboot and get back to this page. All right, so let's get started here. I'm going to move this over to the side so it's easier for you to see while I'm following along on the tutorial. Step 1, we're going to double click Start Dev Terminal, and our first command is sudo leafpad boot config.txt. Get into that file right now. And I'm just copying and pasting just so I don't make a typo here. And it's just so handy to have that reference right there. So this is the file here, and they want us to uncomment out DT param equals audio equals on, and we're going to comment out DT overlaid and DT overlay Google Voice Hat. Save and exit. And then we'll move on to the next command. Which is sudo leafpad, etc. a sound.conf, and we're gonna paste that in. We're gonna select all, copy. I'm gonna leave the first line options, and I'm just gonna copy from PCM and replace the PCM. And I'm gonna save and exit. And now it's time to reboot. And we're back from our reboot. Reopen our web browser. And we're gonna get back to our tutorial that we were following from Android Authority. Scroll down to where we were. Copy paste leafpad again to the Start Dev terminal. And near the top of the file, change voice hat ID to BCM 835. Right here, voice hat ID, Google Voice Hat is now BCM 835. And we're gonna save and quit. All right, so now it's time to start testing to see if what we just did worked. So first we're gonna check audio.
Front, center.
Okay, so it's a little bit soft, so I'm gonna adjust the volume up a bit. And I'm gonna try that again.
Front, center.
So could you hear that? Yes, I could definitely hear that. I'm gonna put yes, it worked. And it says now when you're ready, press enter and say testing 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do that into the microphone here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, I did hear my own voice. So I'm going to say yes to that. And then I'm going to press enter to close. All right, so we tested the check audio part, and that worked great. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to go to AIY projects with google.com, and we're going to do the next part of this project here. So we've navigated over to User's Guide, setting up your device, and the first thing we're going to do is connect to the Cloud Console. So we're going to click on that, and hopefully you have a Gmail address, and so you just want to log in here. And so this is the first time I have ever logged in. So I'm using a new email account, and I'm going to agree to comply, and I'm going to agree to continue to get this started here. So this is what it looks like fresh when you've never logged in before. I'm not going to go for a free trial. I'm going to dismiss that, and we're going to start from the very beginning. We're following along on AIYprojects.withgoogle.com. And to make this easier on myself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the tutorial on the left and then the project on the right. So I've just logged in for the very first time to the Google Cloud platform, and I'm going to create a new project. So I'm going to select this down arrow here, and I'm going to press the plus button for create a project. So this is a new project. You're going to select your project name here. I think you can name it pretty much anything you want here. So I'm going to name this Google Home and hit create. And then we're going to go back to select project and make sure Google Home is selected. right here, open, make sure that it says Google Home right here. And I'm going to turn on the Google Assistant API. API Manager. Enable the API. It's going to ask me what kind of API I want to create. I'm going to say Assistant. And I'm going to select Google Assistant API. And I'm going to hit Enable. All right. So I may need to create credentials. So I should create credentials. So I'm going to hit the Create Credentials button here. So which API I'm using? I'm using Google Assistant API. And where will I be calling the API from? I'm going to choose Other. And which data do I need? I'm going to select Application Data for the type of data I'll be accessing, and I'm going to select I'm going to select No on using the API, App Engine, or Compute Engine. And now it's asking me to create a service account name. So I think I can name that anything I want to name it. I name that Google Home. Select a role. Project Owner is the role I'm going to select. Full access to all resources. And then I'm going to click Continue. And now I've created a private key and it's been saved on my computer. All right, excellent. Now I need to go to OAuth consent screen. And I need to create in credentials here too. I'm going to name that Google Home as well. I'm going to hit Save. We need to create credentials around an OAuth client ID. Click that right here. I'm going to click Other. I'm going to name it Google Home Client. You can name it whatever you want. Create. And here it is. So you don't need to worry about copying and pasting it right now. I'm just going to hit OK through here because what you're going to see on the screen is this little download button right here. I'm going to download the client secret right here. So now I'm going to go into my folder here and I'm going to go to downloads, and you can see the two files that I just downloaded. Take both files, I'm going to drag it into, move it into the Pi, move it into the main folder. So now I'm in the Pi directory and I'm going to rename these files. I'm going to rename this file client_secret.json, and I'm going to rename this file credentials.json. There. All right, so next we go back to our internet browser and we need to go to make sure that our activity controls will allow us to do this project. So we're going to go to myaccount.google.com/activity controls. And we're going to make sure that web and app activity is on. Yes, that's good. Location history needs to be on. And I'm going to turn that, I'm going to say yes, I want to turn on location history. Then I'm going to make sure device information is on. Yes, I want to turn on device information. And last but not least, voice and audio activity should be on. And yes, I want to turn on voice and audio activity. And all of these have to be on to make sure our Raspberry Pi Google Home works properly. So now we're going to see if this works. So I'm going to go to Start Dev Terminal, and I'm going to type in src main.py. And it takes me to sign in to my Google account again. And it wants to know if I'm going to allow this. Well, because I made it, yes, I'm going to allow it. And now it says I can close this window. Excellent. All right, so I'm going to press the button and then speak. Let's try this out now. So here's the little button that I made. I'm going to hit the button. What is 1 plus 1?
The answer is 2.
Oh, and sure enough, it works. So instead of saying, OK, Google, what we're going to do is we're going to press the button and then say our command. So press the button. Tell me a joke.
Okay, here you go. Did you hear about the 2 antennas that got married? The ceremony was okay, but the reception was great.
And there you go, it works. So I'm going to get out of this. I can just close it or Control C out of this. Now, I want to make this where I don't have to run a command to get it to work. I just want to plug it in. I want to forget this mouse, keyboard, and this monitor here. So there is a way to simply do that. And we're going to run that command now. So let's see, go back to Start Dev Terminal, and the command is sudo SYSTEMCTL enable voice dash recognizer. Okay, I'm going to reboot and try that now. So now I've rebooted the computer, and without running the Start Dev Terminal, without running anything, I'm going to hit the button on my Raspberry Pi here, and I'm going to say, what is 2 plus 3?
The answer is 5.
And sure enough, now it works. So now I can just use this as a Google Home and not use the monitor or the keyboard or the mouse. And every time it boots up, it's going to automatically go into this Google Home. So all I have to do is press the button and say a command. What is 5 times 57?
The answer is 285.
And that's the project, guys. So let's show it to you right here. So with the mouse and the keyboard and everything, test that again. So here we go, I'm pressing the button. What is 3 plus 4?
The answer is 7.
And it's as simple as that, and we've got it running. So every time you plug it in, it's going to start working with this button. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.
And that's it.